anybody says Atmaram over my dead body.
ऐसे करके लाश को throw कर रहे हैं. I'm like, this is so 90s.
I was trying to do Antoine Chigurh from No Country for Old Men.
That one scene I have with him saying some galis, and I was very conscious in front of him because he's sitting there.
Hi, this is Bhavna and you're watching India Today. There are no guns, only Gulaabs with this gang here who is joining me only on India Today. Of course, Dulquer, Salmaan, Rajkummar, Rao, Adarsh, Gaurav and Gulshan Devaiya. Firstly, a huge welcome. Thank you. The 90s kid in me is very, very happy watching the trailer and the first 3 episodes of the series. I have enjoyed it so far.
Thank you, Bhavna.
So that also makes me think, how much did you all enjoy it? Because we have all grown up on that cinema. We talk about it in nostalgia today. To be able to recreate that world with a sense of modernity on set. What, like when you're talking about in one scene, when you're talking about negatives, I'm like, ये Gen Z को negative समझ में आएगा? Because उनको नहीं पता होगा कि एक ज़माना था जब negatives भी आते थे, you know. So these small things, I personally like was enjoying it. But to y'all on set, what was the most fun part? Because I feel each character has so much to do, so much fun to have with as well. Dulquer, will start with you in the same line.
I think that's the magic of Raj and DK, right? I mean, any of their series or films, you notice that every single character is there for a reason. Every single character has a great graph. It's well etched out, well fleshed out. They are part of the larger narrative. You know, everybody's pulling it in different directions. So I think we all got that opportunity to have fun with our characters. And the attention to detail, you know, from their side, even if it's, you know, I instinctively held a gun like this, and, you know, Raj sir was like, DQ, 90s. It was like this. I was like, oh, yeah. You know, so it's nice that they have an eye on everything, and our production design and costume and all these departments were so spot on. Nobody looked like they dressed up. None of the sets looked made up. So it was literally like being transported in time. And it was just, I think while you perform, or like you said, you know, we have props or negatives and stuff, you're like, you know that world, and it is a bit of a, it is nostalgic, and you know you get to instantly teleport back. Yeah, so it was lovely. It was
Rajkummar, that scene in the first scene, the opening scene itself, I feel that it's so much. I mean, I was just wondering, how is he doing this? You're not laughing, and then someone crying, and someone tells you, "Tera baap mar gaya, tu ro bhi nahi raha," and you suddenly start to like. It's so caricaturish at that point because you're not really crying, and then suddenly there is an outburst eventually, and I just felt that, oh my God! And again, there's another scene where ऐसे करके लाश को throw कर रहे हैं. I'm like, this is so 90s. You know, but
आपने 90s में बहुत लाशें थ्रो की.
मैंने तो नहीं, but देखी जरूर है. You know, I just feel it was so much fun to watch all this.
It's all about making you believe in stories, yeah. But yeah, I think it was just fun. You know, it's just fun working with Raj DK because they write such quirky, funny scenes, and then as an actor, of course, they give you space to explore it even further and take it wherever you want to take it. Of course, they're there to guide you and everything. But that's the fun, I think, and playing Tipu was a lot of fun. As you said, he's so unexpected in his behavior. You never know with him how he's going to react to things.
But does it leave scope for spontaneity on set characters?
Absolutely, like yeah. I think it's the whole show is very organic. Like that's a beauty working with Raj and DK. They'll never show you how to do it. They'll of course take you there, and then you'll have to, you know, adapt to it and then figure it out. And they'll tell you if it's going wrong. What they'll always tell you. But that's the fun of working with them. They're always just there, giving you that freedom. Okay, that's your playground. We have written it, and it's beautiful. Now play along.
Adarsh, I want to know from you. I think one of the characteristics which I took away from Jugdu is उसके बाल ऐसे होते हैं और वो बार-बार ऐसे करता है. These are small details, but I feel that it adds so much to the character, right? When you were narrated Jugdu, because I feel he's up until now, जहाँ तक मैंने देखा, it's a very restrained character. एकदम प्यार से बात कर रहा है, sinister बातें कर रहा है, लेकिन प्यार से कर रहा है एकदम, you know, उस तरीके के. How did you approach that?
I mean, I think with Raj and DK, it's both. It's like there's a lot of things are not based completely in reality. I almost feel like sometimes it's magical realism, like the world that they're creating, because you know the possibilities that a character can do are endless, really. What you're talking about, the hair falling here, was really a practical thing. It was just my hair falling in, irritating me, and then me having to adjust it every time. So it wasn't a thing where I thought कि मैं ऐसे करूँगा. But it was decided कि मेरे बाल ऐसे गिरेंगे और मेरे लिए irritating था, तो मैं बार-बार उसको ऐसे कर रहा था.
But it's a very 90s thing also again. Like,
Correct.
you know,
It's
it
also
used
it's
to
also
happen a
it's
lot.
also a very 90s thing to do that.
पहले वो villains होते थे ना वो ऐसे ही
हाँ,
you know
हाँ.
usually जाते थे तो मुझे तो बहुत मजा आ रहा था वो सब
Correct.
देखकर.
Correct. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and again, the 90s for me is very different because I didn't grow up watching a lot of movies. So the 90s for me was just, I guess, a lot of WWF, a lot of playing, a lot of trump cards, cameras, but not digital cameras like those
Film roll.
cameras. Kar ghuma ke, develop kar. So yeah.
It's fun. Gulshan, I think your character is the most delicious character in the entire series because
Yummy.
there's just so much to explore and so much. I mean, it could go either way, right? And every time I was like, there's that scene where you're wearing the necklace, and the way you do this, I was just like Sanjay Datta guy from Vasta, for me at least. Did you have some reference points in mind? Because certain aspects of Atmaram remind you of villains in 90s. Did you also, like, was it a conscious effort?
I was trying to do Antoine Chigurh from No Country for Old Men.
हम देसी हैं हम वास्तव का संजय दत्त बोलेंगे.
No, it started from there, and I think things kept like, you know, in my head and in Rajan DK's head, and it's just things started to develop, and then there were lots of references, and the hairstyle came from Sanjay Dutt's hairstyle, and which is why there's some improvisations about that sub in the thing, and I think I do a terrible imitation of him, and then it's. You know, like I said, it's magical realism. Like it doesn't have to be really good imitation, you know.
No, but as long as it serves the purpose, I think that is amazing. While I was watching, one of the things, I think Satish Kaushik, although he's no more with us, but I feel his character and his is so much, like, he adds so much on screen. I want to know from you all, because the moment I was watching, I was like, oh, I want to interview Satish ji, and the next moment, it just clicked that, you know, he's no more, and I cannot.
No, he's
do
there,
that.
he's right there. Just turn around.
No, I want to know your experience, because I feel that actors today are reinventing themselves so much. I mean, we have seen his graph, keeping in mind, and also you all have been reinventing yourself thoroughly, because everyone else is also reinventing. How important is that for you all? Of course, I want to know your experience working with Satish ji, but also keeping that in mind that he has reinvented himself in the last few years. How much does that challenge you as new age actors to constantly keep reinventing yourself as well?
Well, that's the whole point of being an actor. I think you can't be stuck in a loop and then keep doing the same thing. It's very boring after a point. If you're here for the right reasons, saying that. Satish sir, of course, you know, we watched him in Jaane Bhi Do Yaro. He's so different than the Mr. India. Then suddenly this, which is so different from whatever he has done. Then he became a director. And I've known him for a very long time. We did Chalang also together. He played my father there. And one of the finest guys I met in the industry, in this city. He was so full of life. He was such a great storyteller, off screen also. And he had so many experiences to share, so many stories, because he had seen so much, you know, in life, in cinema, in the industry. But just, of course, we miss him terribly, one of the finest talents, and one of the most versatile actors, you know, that we had. But in this also, I think off screen, on screen, which is great, just spending time with him.
Dulquer, what do you want to say?
No, I feel like he was the star on the show. Like,
Yeah,
so
he
the
truly
days he's there on set, like we're all fanboys. And, we're all excited that he's there, and we're all going up to him. And he's also very kind. And you know, I guess he's seen so much. And that one scene I have with him, I had a lot of lines, and I'm, you know, saying some galis, and I was very conscious in front of him because he's sitting there. And he sensed it very instantly, and he said, "Don't worry about it. You know, take your time. It's okay if we go retakes, as long as we get it. Don't worry about it." And I thought it was very, very sweet of him to do that, to just, you know, get me at ease.
Correct.
And I think we all have fond memories of him after shoot, like when we're all hanging out. He loves to get everybody together, irrespective. Doesn't have to be just actors, all ADs, whoever. And he'll tell you all these stories, and we could all ask him about certain films and what does that shoot like, and he'll have the best stories. And, he's thoroughly entertaining. He had this infectious smile and laugh. And he was always zen. Like, I don't know, I still can't believe he's gone.
No, I completely. But about also reinventing, I feel one of the prime examples you have at home itself.
Absolutely,
Mammootty sir himself has been reinventing himself so much. Does that challenge you as well?
No, it's very, you know, it gets boring for you as an actor or even for the audience to watch you, because if you start becoming predictable, or even if your film choices are predictable, you're like, I'm in this one genre, I'm popular and comfortable there, and it's working for me, therefore I keep doing it. I think it's when something is scaring us as actors, something is challenging you, is when you push yourself. So definitely, I think anyone who's lasted the test of time are the ones who've constantly reinvented.
Correct. Yeah.
So I think we have enough examples to learn from, right? And you see so many actors sometimes who have not been around, there's been a lull, and then they make a comeback.
Yeah.
And they've fully become a different person. You know, you've seen certain people who maybe even quit for a while, but then they come back older, and you see a whole new persona,
Correct,
a whole new type of actor. Those are definitely like, you know, people you measure yourself against.
Gulshan, you have been reinventing since the beginning of your career, I feel, because you've always chosen those kind of roles. But is it getting challenging or is it getting better now? Because पहले ये सबको unconventional समझा जाता था. Now it's all conventional. So has it become easier for you to sort of negotiate on what kind of roles you want to do, or is it still a struggle at some point?
No, the choice is always mine. You know, I get to say yes and no, and I keep it that way. And then, fortunately for me, I have not had to sort of, you know, go looking for work, and there are enough people giving me interesting work. I like the versatility and diversity. That's always who I've been. And if I'm able to sort of, you know, that's being true to myself. If you see that in my career and the kind of sensibilities that I'm associated with, then that's being me true to myself. And I do think about, like, you know, 10 years, 20 years down the line, and if I'll still be relevant. And being relevant is definitely a fear that at some point certain actors we all think about it, I think.
Yeah.
And I do too. I'm not particularly scared about it right now, but I'm conscious that I don't want to be irrelevant. Because, you know, like we were talking about the 90s, there were lots of actors I used to see. I don't see them around anymore. And they were good actors. And sometimes you do see them in, you know, here and there, you know, walking on the street or in some restaurant or some
Right.
screening or something. But you're not seeing them. So I'm like, what is the reason? I don't know, perhaps, you know, the business or the filmmakers or the storytellers don't think that they are relevant anymore. And
Right.
that kind of scares me also, that this can happen to me as well.
Correct.
So yes, you have to sort of keep trying new things and being relevant. I think reinventing yourself is also being relevant to the
Yeah.
generation you're working in, you know.
True.
And then say somebody like Mr. Bachchan, he's still very, very relevant. And he's been around, he's had the longest career, I think, of all the actors who are like
Correct.
working now. So that's
No,
what,
that's
my
actually a
opinion.
very interesting point. I want to ask all of you as well, because being relevant, आजकल तो मतलब it becomes like a prerequisite that, oh, you have to be, the more you're visible on social media, the more you're relevant. There are different ways of measuring how you want to be relevant to your audiences. How do you perceive it? Because I believe that it brings a lot of external pressure also. For example, your marketing team might tell you कि अरे यार ज़्यादा दिखना पड़ेगा, ये reel भी करो, ये भी करो, because you have to be relevant
We don't have such
to a certain. No, I'm saying, giving you an example, Raj. No, but I'm just saying that, is there a pressure, like, do you have to deal with that, that, oh, should I be doing this only because I want to be relevant, or
No,
like
I don't know if it's these are all the mechanisms
Parameters,
you use to be relevant. I think it's very important to stay grounded, have your ears on the ground. Because sometimes what happens is when you reach a certain height, you kind of then start to live in a bubble. And you're surrounded by maybe yes men and people who amp you up and tell you you're doing the right thing. And even if your film has no connection with the audience, you know, sometimes there are people who tell you, oh, it's not the film, it's the release, it's something else, you know, the timing was bad, or it's politics, it's something, they feed all kinds of things into your head. But that means you personally have no connect to the audience. I think when that happens is when you don't, you know, you lose your relevance. I think as long as you know what is happening, you still interact with people, you know, you have that human connect with the audience. I think you'll always kind of know what they want to watch. And then you'll at least try to be a part of cinema like that.
Correct. Raj?
This is my thinking.
No, I mean, I agree to it partly because I feel that there's so much more. This is such a complex subject in general.
Yeah.
But on a surface level, how do you look at this? Like, in order to stay relevant, what is your idea of relevance, in fact, of fans?
Do the relevant work. I think that's the only thing people know you for your work. Of course, if you want to be an influencer, then that's a separate thing. You need to post every day and do things. But like Ranbir Kapoor is not on any social media. He's still, I think, way more relevant than
True.
a lot of people. You know, so I think it's just how you see it. It's your choice. I think there's no right or wrong. Honestly, it's whatever suits you, whatever works for you. You do it that way.
And you've been doing this. In fact, even you have been doing that constantly, right? With each of your projects. I don't see you succumbing to pressure more or less, but yeah, I feel that that's still a lot to take. Like there's a lot of conversation around it. Ki kitna kare, kitna had tak kare, because audiences today are more demanding in those sense.
No, they do like to see you. They do like to see a personal side to you.
Yeah.
So that also helps. I think that medium works in that manner also. But that can't be only all that you're about.
True. Adarsh, I want to know from you. I think जितना आपका छोटा span में career रहा है, उसमें you have done such different work already. Like people take years to come to a point where they could do like 5 different projects, including international projects. You have done it already. How are you? But at some point, are you also scared of? Because I feel that जब इतना success मिल जाता है ना, failure से थोड़ा तो डर लगता है. Are you? Is that a afterthought at all? Because you're scared कि what if the next project doesn't work or the character doesn't connect immediately with the audience?
I try not to think about that. Of course, like, sometimes you do have those thoughts, but at least when you're getting into a project, that's not your thought. Maybe at the time of release or around the release, you're like, shit, like, I hope it gets accepted, because at the end of the day, like, you are working for yourself, but
Correct.
you want to have a connection with the audience through the character that you're playing. Yeah, that's not a conscious fear. Like, I feel like I have a very boring life personally. So when I try to take up a project, I try to take up something where the character is more interesting than the kind of life that I have, which is very mundane and very routine-like. Yeah. And I also feel like I get bored of things very quickly. So for me, it's very important to be engaged with the material
Correct.
that I'm getting into and reading. And also, like, so many other things, like, I feel like all the good things and the bad things and the insecurities that you have in your personal life, then you don't want to deal with them for some point, for some time at least. And then when you take up a project, you imbibe the good things and the bad things and the insecurities of that character. So then you have something new to look forward to and newer things to deal with than your own life. So it's also like some weird form of escapism, I guess. So, I'm still figuring it out. I don't have...
No, it makes sense because audiences are watching shows so that they can escape their reality. And I think that is what you are also looking in a character, to escape a part of your reality.
In a way, I guess, yeah.
And that is amazing. I want to know, if not your character, because each of these characters are so interesting in their own way, which is that other character from this world of Guns and Gulaabs that you would have liked to play, or you think that, oh, this would be interesting if I would be doing that?
Anybody says Atmaram over my dead body.
But I mean, if I feel that's the most interesting character.
We're going to
also.
get into a serious cockfight right now.
I think it's so well cast. I mean, I can't imagine anybody else playing any of these characters. I genuinely love each of these actors in those roles. Because I've seen how much they've had fun with it, and they really made it their own.
Yeah.
And I think we all have a certain love for our own characters. I don't think we want to give it away, or any other character seems better. Like, I mean, that's what I think.
Arjun is being like the self-righteous as your character.
As my
like,
character, absolutely.
मैंने अर्जुन बुलाया आपको इसी वजह से, because I feel that you are in your character right now. Raj, if not Tipu, what else would you want to play?
I think all the characters are so well written. You could choose anything.
But if you had to, like, just one.
Jugnu, I think, is a very interesting character because there's a lot happens with him towards the end.
जो हमने देखा नहीं है अभी.
अभी देखा नहीं है. Even though I know I'm too old for that now, but the like Gangu's character, how he's in love with this teacher and he's doing such random things for his love. He's ready to fight with.
Yeah.
Tipu also. It's just bizarre.
Gangu is Tanishq.
Tanishq.
Yeah.
He's so freaking natural.
But he's very good actually. Adarsh, which one?
I'm just a fan of all the characters that are written.
But if you had to play any other thing apart from Jugnu?
I think I'd really mess it up if I'd play it. I don't want to play it. But like all the characters are so much fun. I think they all have such
all
amazing
written so
moments and such
Yeah.
amazing lines. Like even in the trailer, you know, you're just like it's such an absurd and amazing trailer that you know that this guy is dead with a spanner inside his head, but you're still laughing at it. And you're laughing at the misery of these two dudes who are like trying to get the bike because the petrol is done, and then him looking at the hole. You know, so it's all the characters are so whack and so crazy. Yeah, like all of them are so amazing. It's
Gulshan, should I even ask you?
Yes, you should ask me. I want to play all the characters.
No,
all
but
of
if
them.
what?
Like,
If not
none
आप-
of these people are required.
अच्छा, मतलब-
मैं सब कुछ कर लूँगा. मैं खुद डायरेक्ट भी कर लूँगा, कैमरा भी चला लूँगा, मैं प्रॉप भी बन जाऊँगा, पौधा भी बन जाऊँगा, पाना भी बन जाऊँगा. Because I am that good. Yeah. Have you seen Tare Zameen Par? Have you seen Tare Zameen Par?
Of course I have.
Do you remember Darshil Safri's teeth? I played that.
No, but I'm used to. I've met him recently twice, so I just know his sense of humor. Like you have to be very prepared
I'm
and
that
armed.
good.
I feel when you're interviewing Gulshan because
I feel like I'm in a straight jacket right now.
he can just like come from anywhere and say anything. Upcoming projects, of course, because fans are always waiting for the lead. You already have King of Kota coming in.
Right.
There's so much excitement about it.
Yeah.
Everyone is already saying that this is like the biggest of the film. Like you're coming, you are someone very different. Like people have known you in different characters. Is there pressure to sort of live up to that expectation for you?
I mean, it's a new kind of space for me. I haven't done something massy and commercial in that sense, but I do believe it also has substance. It also has great content. It has a deeper story and a lot of characters. Kind of like how in our show, everybody's kind of instrumental in the narrative. And but yeah, it is a big film. We're trying to reach as wide as we can. Fingers crossed. I'm excited and nervous. Post that, I started a film called Kanta. It's directed by Selva, who did the Veerappan docu-series. And then I'm doing Venki Atluri's film in Telugu.
Wow, and congratulations, it's 1 year to
Sitaramam, yes.
today.
Thank you.
That film again was so amazing. What about you? Give us a bit of deep. What next for you? I know that this year has been amazing for you in terms of the kind of films you were part of. What next?
Next is Mr. and Mrs. Mahi, me and Janvi Kapoor, directed by Sharan Sharma. Then there is Shri, which is a biopic of a visually impaired boy from Hyderabad.
Wow.
Then Stree 2, of course, is happening. Yeah.
You have already started shooting for that, right?
One skit is done, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Adarsh?
there's Kho Gaye Hum Kahan, and that's directed by Arjun, and it's with Sid and Ananya. And there's a film called Malegaon. I mean, tentatively it's
Reema
being called-
Kakti
Yeah,
one.
Reema is directing that.
Yeah, okay, lovely. Gulshan?
I'm shooting for Ulaj right now. The rains have thrown a spanner in the works. Then Duranga season 2 will release.
Thank you so much, guys. This was lovely. I hope
Thank you.
that this does so well that we already have second season to it.
Thank you.
So
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thank you. This was great fun. Thank you.